right, good morning, everybody. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. We need to approve the agenda. Any changes or additions or anything?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous, motion carries. Okay, approve the minutes of September 25th.
After looking through the minutes, I find them correct and motion to approve.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous, motion carries. All right. General public concerns. Anybody here that wants to speak on general public concerns? All right, we'll move forward. Okay, Chris, you're up early. No, you got here in the nick of time.
All right.
Nice go.
I don't know if you guys want this. This is just based off of what I'm proposing anyway today. And this is just kind of a comparison of just a simple breakdown of how it works between when we had this same system through Solutions versus what we're gonna do now. So what I'm proposing today or asking for the blessing of today is to move ahead with a product called VSA. I forget what it even stands for. But what it is it's a comparison to what Datto would do for us that was provided by Solutions prior to my coming on board. So it allows system-wide computer management as far as some of the more smaller day-to-day tasks, as far as updating the operating system, making sure the software installed on the computers can stay up to date. One of the nice features too is it will actually go out and you can tell it to not let them install a certain type of software. And I had Trish watch the demo with me, and I think the salesman put it best. He says, I guarantee you the employee will get tired of installing that software before the VSA will, removing it. So it's kind of a nice, nice feature. The price breakdown, as you can see, versus what we paid for Datto versus what is proposed to us is fairly significant. Datto you can only get through a company like the Solutions, a managed service provider. So that's why we couldn't stay with them to begin with. VSA, on the other hand, obviously we can buy as a private entity or a separate entity. And the cost savings is significant because we don't have Solutions built in Iowa hurricane insurance. The just in case we have to help do something cost, which is why it's such a drastic change in price. So
this says that it has 100 PC, you can up to 100 PCs.
Yep.
We're nowhere near that, are we?
Oh, that's what I thought too. That's why I just threw out a random number of 100. I thought that'll more than cover. No, because, I guess, my bad. My intention is to cover here, Ben, and the LEC. So that's more than just in the courthouse now.
Oh.
My bad,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, I get
Yep.
it now. Okay.
Yep, sorry, I didn't.
But currently under Solutions, we're only covering 43.
We're not even doing that right now because to me, it wasn't worth the 18,
Yeah.
almost 19,000. Because I left off some of the other stuff so it was more of an apples to apples comparison.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so VSA, we are gonna get 100 PCs though.
Correct.
Okay, and
Correct.
right now
We were only getting 43 PC, a combination of 43 PCs and servers. So PCs and servers together, add them together, we were only covering 43 with the Datto prior. We'll be able to do 100.
now,
So, yep,
okay. And the savings is $41,701.50, correct?
over the course of the 3 years,
3
yes.
years, over 3 years.
Yep.
Okay.
That is a 3-year contract with them now.
Yep.
So will Solutions be still part of our anything here then?
Unfortunately, I say that's probably terrible to say just because they've had that change. They've been taken over by that much larger company. We are still bound to them
Obligated.
because of the IBM, the data information management system, the IBM that they manage and do all the programming for the taxing stuff and the drainage stuff and for all the different departments, the specialized programs that they've created for them. So we are still bound to that, but that was already factored in prior to this year, on this year's budget when Trish and I went through and did mine.
Mhm. And if I remember right, did somebody look into the other company that could do the same service that Solutions did, but you weren't at the same speed, or what, you've gotten bad comments about them
Oh,
also?
Tyler's another management, yeah, and we're part of a couple of, between our monthly meetings of like the Iowa counties.
Mhm.
And then just in basically a chat program that they have, that we kind of communicate back and forth with. Yes, no one is a fan of Tyler. They don't like it. They don't, even our state liaisons will tell you that they hear nothing but nightmarish things. Unfortunately, Solutions seems to be trending in that direction also since the buyout. So, yeah, we're working at trying to figure out the best, least painful way to see if we can at least start to transfer away from that on that IBM side as well.
So if we did this and Solutions was still part of our system, we would just need to make sure that we keep that for the drainage and the taxes. And if we ever come across something that worked, we would be able to separate from them
Correct.
at the end of our.
At the end of it,
agreement.
and at the end of, yeah, because we only, at least since I've been here, we've only done fiscal year agreements with them, so it's
That's
not
what
a
I thought,
long
but I
term.
Wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Well, I can't think that we wouldn't want to save that amount of money.
Mhm.
And if it's going to cover more PCs and servers,
And it does, I guess I should, for what it matters to anybody listening or you guys, this product is one of those that where it has a web interface, so I don't have to be here to see what's going on if it's after hours, on vacation, whatever the case may be.
do you have vacation?
Not that I'm aware of.
Every time you leave, we get in trouble, so.
I tried to stay home sick back in March and Kruger wouldn't let that happen, so. But yeah, no, so I'd be able to just, so if, when I'm not on site, if it's sounds simple enough, I can look remote in, just log in anywhere I've got an internet connection. Where again, with Datto, that was back to one of those where you gotta have Solutions blessing to have access to your own stuff. And
What's everybody think? I think
Well, unless we're missing something, it ain't
Yeah, it
shown
doesn't.
here, it's.
Chris sounds like he's researched this up one side.
yeah, we actually didn't renew the 18,000 per year silver agreement is what Solutions called it, that was managing this. Buying some time to find something far more reasonable to manage some of those background daily tasks.
Mhm.
And this certainly seems like you accomplished it with this VSA.
It looks very promising. Like I said, I had Trish sat in on the recorded presentation with me. She was, I don't know, I thought you came away fairly impressed with what we could do with it, so.
Yeah, I was really surprised
And so this is a
at the
three-year
capabilities.
contract.
Yep, and it'll be, so the first year, like any software, there's I think it was I didn't include it in here again, trying to keep it apples to apples. There is I highlighted the email. The first year, which isn't due until November, because they're gonna give us, if we go ahead now, they'll give us October for free. So they're basically giving us 37 months for that cost. There's there it is, 1,600, just over 1,600 implementation fee that comes with any large software anymore, unfortunately. So the first year total due on the 2nd of November is 7 cents shy of $6,000. But then year 2, year 3 is $4,375.
Well, I think that, I've heard enough to know this looks like a good path forward. And thank you for researching it, and getting it where we need to be. I'd make a motion that we approve the purchase of, what do we want to call it, the
The
BSA,
VSA, I would say VSA system management.
BSA System Management Program.
Do you want to also put in there that we are discontinuing the other, or
No.
we need that?
I guess that would be, I don't know the rules for that. We didn't renew it when it came due on the
That's what I
fiscal
wanted.
year.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
never-
So we're kind of doing it as a month by month.
Yeah,
type.
yeah, this is, yeah, we just kind of, I went with that flyby, hope for the best thing while we had time to research and find a suitable product that was hopefully nowhere near what we were being charged.
I'll second your motion.
Got a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous, motion carries. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right,
Russ.
yes, thank you.
Gives us a little bit more freedom.
Yes, definitely.
A lot less money.
Yeah. Okay. We're a little early. Is anybody opposed to going a little early for John to start? But is it 8:45?
Well,
So, I think a question you guys asked me last week was whether we can contract with somebody else to.
I wonder if John, if you should come up and sit in one of these chairs, so I can hear you better.
Yep.
And there might be people listening out there.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
Yeah, just in case.
Fine, sit up here. So it was whether the supervisors could contract with somebody to take care of the dam, is that sort of the question?
Yes.
Not the supervisors, that have to be the conservation board. They're the ones that are in charge of the dam. I know it's been kind of weird where we've had a situation where you guys are making most of the decisions on the dam. That's because of the money. Because anything the conservation board would want to do would have to be approved by the supervisors, because they don't have the money in their budget. But as far as like maintenance of the dam, that would be at least a decision that would have to be finalized by the conservation.
So it could be. If the conservation board decides to let the. Whatever your boat club, is that what terminology we'll use today, river restoration, whatever. It could be handled by them.
It could be, yes.
Okay, I talked to Christy Hirschberger, I believe it is, from
ISAC.
ISAC Legal. She got back with me late Friday afternoon. The supervisors appoint the conservation board. We hire a director. The conservation board owns the dam. And as far as work on the dam or the river, which is under the conservation board, I'm trying to think what all she said now, because I wrote it on a piece of cardboard in my shop. That's where I was at when she called me back. You can have volunteers work on the dam, on the river, put the cable up or board, whatever. They have to sign an agreement to not hold Humboldt County liable. But they can do the work through the conservation board.
Right. Which is, I think, pretty close to what I just said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it would obviously, if there's an agreement, then there would need to be things in the agreement before I would say it's okay. I would give my blessing, not that anybody cares, but
Right, we'd want. you
much
to
as
look
my
through it.
concern would be obviously the liability of the county,
Right,
not,
Right.
I mean, the proposal doesn't sound unreasonable or anything like that, but yeah, I think we'd wanna if the conservation board decided to do that, then I would try to work with them or have them get an attorney to work with them to draw up documents, because I think it'd be important to protect the county and the conservation board, and obviously anybody, volunteer or not, that's gonna work or mess with the dam that belongs to the county, we want them to sign some type of waiver.
Right.
Right.
And if it's with a group, I mean, you know, I guess members of the group, but we probably want,
Individual.
yeah, I mean, if it's gonna be with 1,000 people, then we'd probably, like, 1,000 people are gonna work on the dam, we'd want 1,000 people to sign
Right.
waivers. If it's 20 people, we'd want 20 people to sign waivers. And we'd want some agreement that would make sense, but yeah, I mean, so this can be done. It's allowed. It just because the conservation owns the dam, they would have to be the ones that ultimately approved it.
So question, would we, if that was direction we went, would the county put this agreement or this paper together that Bruce Reimers signs? I mean, we wouldn't want somebody else doing it and then saying, well, that doesn't cover what we wanted done. I guess that's. my
No, I
question.
think what we would do is, like I said, I'd be happy to work with the conservation board if they wanted to do this and try to come up with an agreement or talk to them about whether they wanted to hire outside counsel to do it, however they wanted to do it.
Okay.
I think it would be what's in the agreement would be up to the conservation board. Who signs it would be up to them, but yeah, I mean, I certainly would like the ability, even if I don't write it, to look it over.
I think we'd want to
And
definitely insist that, and you're our county attorney, we want to make sure that you have the final say.
so, yeah, and you know, and I guess they can be done a bunch of different ways, but if the group that wants to take care of the dam has a proposal, I mean, they can certainly, there's nothing that says they can't put it forward in writing to the conservation board and to you guys. I mean, you guys can certainly look at it. I'm sure you'd look at it before it was done anyway. And just like anybody else in the county, if it's done at a conservation board meeting, anybody's allowed to go. So I don't, so yeah, I mean, it's definitely doable, but we just want to be careful if they did it.
Could we work it a little different than that? And, if we just provided a certificate of insurance, I mean, just like any contractor would, I do that and it'll work for the county. I supply a certificate of insurance and all my people are covered.
Well, I mean,
Does that serve the same purpose or?
But you'd still have to sign the paper, you know, as a volunteer,
Well,
or they could hire you as a contractor
is that,
to do the work.
you know, 'cause what we're looking at doing is, it wouldn't be strictly all volunteer work. You know, so there's gonna be some work that's gonna have to be done and, by companies. So they're gonna have certificates of insurance, I have a certificate of insurance. I'm sure we could provide one, we've not looked into that because we didn't know what to look at. But, you know, would that work also?
I think we'd still want to have the agreement. I mean, it might overthinking or underthinking it, John, but we still want to have everybody involved to sign a liability.
well, and I think, you know, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit because, yeah, I mean, in theory, that should be fine if you get a certificate of insurance and show who's on it, like that. That doesn't seem unreasonable or any problem there, but you know, these are things that would have to be hammered out through the conservation board, not necessarily here. But yeah, I mean, if it's to do construction or repairs, then you would probably want to treat it like that. And then if it's to open and close the gates afterwards, then we probably want to.
I'm gonna ask one more time, just. I'm confused. Who owns it?
That's kind of why I was at, Gary, because the last time.
The county's conservation board owns it.
they do.
They do own it.
have.
But the
Okay,
county-
that's-
County
that's
hires
what
the
they
board or
hire,
appoints
that's
that board.
Yeah, it's the conservation board that owns it.
Maybe this is just needed for the county, is it paperwork showing it?
Yeah.
On this conservation board somewhere, I've never seen that.
Todd has the deed, Todd has something.
He has a deed and I thought the county, he said that the researching, it's on the DNR or what, some website that we actually own, our engineer, the not civil engineer, what do you call that? Corps of Engineers, it's on the
Engineer.
Corps of Engineers website that the Conservation Board owns it, but he has a deed that actually says the county owns it. I
So that
thought-
makes a lot of sense.
I know. So the websites
Comes
aren't.
right down to it, the county owns the thing,
Yeah,
but it's controlled through the conservation.
but it's managed through the Conservation Board.
So the ownership's in the county, that's the way it was deeded.
He sent it to me.
So the county will have to make the decision.
Well, it's through the conservation board because we've appointed them people to operate it. You know, take control of it, just like the parks and then, all the recreation stuff throughout the county, the conservation board has control of all of it.
But yeah, but if you have the title to the car, you're the one that's gonna have to.
Right,
That's gonna have to sign.
right.
So it's up to him what happens, basically. I also checked with the insurance company, it calls Scott Current, I think he has the, I know he has the city, I don't know if he has the county. insurance. He was out this weekend, but to find out what it would cost if we were additionally insured, you know, if our group did the work on it, just to give us an additional insured policy on it, if we paid that, trying to find out if that's possible, if we can do that as well. That will save a lot of hassles too, if we were additionally insured. So trying to get an answer on that.
I just emailed this to you, John. It's the,
Oh, I don't even have my phone.
that's a, oh, there you go. You might throw it sideways and it'll make it bigger. I know. But that's the. That we got, or that Todd had, he sent it to me, and then he also forwarded it to somebody else that was asking about it publicly.
So, yeah, so it was deeded to the county for conservation and recreation purposes. Which would put the title in the county and then. Based on reading this, it looks like it would be conservation that runs it. So,
You bet. Or back there.
well, it looks like the county owns it and then. It's for conservation and recreation, so then that would fall under what our Humboldt County Conservation to manage,
Mhm.
which is, I think, how they've done it. Since they got the dam.
So can I ask the question? Now we throw the ball back across the Cubs City and say, what are you guys gonna do with it? Or are we gonna say, well, they can if we provide this signed paper?
Well, from my point of view, what would be really easy for me would be if there was some sort of actual proposal in writing saying, this is what we want to do. And then if y'all want to do it, then we can write up an agreement that discusses it, that covers it. But I mean, I haven't paid close enough attention to know exactly what anybody wants to do. I mean, I've heard some, but it'd be nice to know exactly what each side would expect.
Are you talking like a 2080 agreement?
Well, not a 20,
This group or?
no, not a 2080 agreement, but if we, I mean, just, it'd be a simple agreement like we would do with anybody else if we had a managed county property. So, I mean, I guess what would make my job easier is if y'all wanted to provide a written proposal of what you want to do. That would be outstanding. But that would go to the conservation board and they decide, but it'd make my job easier if I knew exactly what y'all wanted to do.
Well, that's why we came here last week to see if it's possible that we could go there. Away from the conservation board and give it back to, something there. That's what we were asking, if that's possible, we'll put something right.
Yeah.
So then when we answer to the supervisors or work with them instead of the conservation board then, because we would take the conservation board out, because we do my understanding.
Okay, so your plan is to completely take the conservation board out of this whole scenario. I still think they would have to agree with that. I think they would have to,
Supervisors all.
yeah. But the conservation board.
Oh, yeah, if they would.
I think they would have to agree.
Correct.
So, can we do that? Yes, we can do it.
Can you do that? Being the zoning administrator, I'm a liaison. I mean, the things that happen as far as zoning is concerned. I'm a liaison between that and the board of supervisors. So I don't see that as being able to circumvent my position, because if you're paid for that, the supervisors are paying those people, somebody that's the head of the conservation board. And so I see it as it would be a circumvention of the conservation board if you take it over completely. And so I see that as if you can maintain the communication from the group through the conservation board in agreement, and then bring it to the board of supervisors. And like I said, a detailed information of here's what we want to do. Basically, and I watched the video from the last meeting, and I just came up with the thought that because I'm a simple person, keep this simple. Okay, even though it's a very detailed and complex situation, provide a way, detailed information, rather than just general information, what they want to do. Basically, what I see it as, they come to you and ask for your approval of a right to try. And so if you come up with the details of what you're gonna do, just like I said, you buy a car, there might be 3 cars there, but I wanna know details of what I'm getting. And so, and there's a lot of different ideas. But if they can work together with the conservation board then can come to you and say, yeah, we agree, we think that you should consider this as approval for them for the right to try. That's the way I looked at it. As John's saying, details. And the same thing would be true with grants. If I'm providing grants to somebody, I want to know details what you're gonna use that money for, or I'm not gonna give you the grant. Or, let's say I'm, gonna donate some money, I wanna know what that money's gonna be used for specifically. Otherwise, I'm probably not gonna do it. And so, I just look at it as details and communication and coming up with a solution to go forward. If they say, no, we don't wanna do it, they should try.
Sense?
If they say no, they don't wanna do it, then they're gonna come back to us and say, provide the $3.5 to $5 million to take it out. I would think, because they don't have that, nor do we.
No.
Is that, what did you guys?
It's not that much, I don't think, to take it out, though, I think that plus.
That was 4 years ago, it was 3.5.
But there's grants and things like that. I mean, I'm not advocating that. I am not advocating that. I am just stating that there's more money out there to take it out than there is to replenish it or restore it. I mean, that's just a simple fact.
Even with all grants. They're still looking.
Possibly, yeah. I don't know what they all are. I don't know what they all are.
Is that what's on the table, taking a dam out?
Still $1 million.
Well, it's one of the options.
One of the options.
Has anybody decided on what's gonna be done with the dam?
No,
There's not been
What
any.
we're trying to get.
Okay, so nothing.
Repair it, get it back to what it was.
Okay,
That's
so-
our goal. Repair the gates, put the boards back on. Maintain No, it's not. We don't wanna cut it here. We don't want it to be gone. We'd rather see it gone than cut it. I mean, I guess, we've kind of said that many times. That's kind of where we're at.
And I'm not trying to throw a can of gas on anything, but we're gonna turn it back over to the conservation board that hasn't looked after it for how long?
50 years.
But that is, you can't blame that all on the conservation board, that you
Saying
can,
it's either here or there.
that's right, it's a mixture of. both.
I'm just saying,
Yes, I know.
we're,
but you
we're
gotta
as
look
much
at-
at fault
it's
as
been-
they are.
That's right, it's past years of I don't wanna say mismanagement, money, it's all comes down to money. Oh, look
You're
at that
exactly
article that I got, and it was back, sixties, whatever that was, and they didn't have $100,000, the county didn't have it then to do
Correct.
that. So it all comes down to money, I
But
mean,
but the simple fact that if we don't figure out who's gonna manage it. Then we're putting them out on the line to say, well, who do we talk to? We talk to the conservation board who supposedly been managing it? They haven't. As long as I've lived out there, that group has taken care of that dam. Period. When Jeannie was there, she might come down, didn't she, once in a while to oversee some stuff, but we've been pulling the timber off that thing for 50 years.
that being said, just because something was done for 50 years doesn't necessarily always make it right.
That's exactly right, and that's what I'm
Right.
trying to ask, is we're gonna turn it back over to them, the conservation board, who hasn't overseen it?
They have the management of it. So yeah, then it's a
Okay.
conservation board decision. John just said that.
That's fine,
It goes back to them. They manage it right now. So it's their decision on what they want to do.
then it
but-
ultimately will come back to us, if they decide, well, we're just gonna stick with the proposal that you guys voted in favor of last time, are we headed down that path? That's my question.
I guess we'll have to wait and see what the
All right,
conservation, I
fine,
mean,
let's
what
move
else?
forward.
What else can we do?
Part of the detailed plan that they have. In the detailed plan, if they're working with the conservation board, could that be also part of that detail? This is what we're going to do, and part of that is agreement of who's gonna actually maintain it. That can be part of the plan, and you have the power then to agree or disagree with that plan. If the conservation board and these people bring it together to you, you can look at it and say no. Or you can look at it and say yes. All of that is detail, not general stuff,
Mhm.
and the details are important. Nobody's gonna give you a grant or a donation unless they also have those details.
Right.
So if you have the details, they have the details, everybody has the details, it has to be adhered to. Otherwise, no, it's gone. The plan was changed from what you said, it's over. Otherwise, if they do follow the plan, which is part of conservation board, is gonna be part of that decision making and that plan.
Right, you had a question?
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about that is, we just got that accident report done, and someone confirmed that we really didn't get any consideration for that, for trying to push that forward. And the conservation board, for all these years, they're supposed to be operating the gates on the dam. That was their responsibility, and they just neglected that part. We got the gates opened. In a couple of days, we had the gates open, and they said they weren't able to open for 10 years, so their effort or their want or their need to get the dam working isn't very great. And they're a priority to them. So that's why if we can take responsibility, I prefer to do it directly with you guys.
Again, it's up to the
What?
conservation.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
that's,
guys,
that's really-
could have a joint meeting of the conservation board and the board of supervisors. You'd have it up in the courtroom or probably someplace bigger than in here
mhm.
and discuss this together. You don't have to, but I guess I don't know what the conservation board would or would not do.
I don't know.
But I think if it's some sort of proposal for how y'all have done it for the last 50 years, whatever, how the boat club used to take care of it. I mean, it doesn't sound unreasonable. And if the conservation board can't do it, you know, it doesn't seem unreasonable to have somebody else do it if it's gonna help the situation on the river. Because I think, you know, all I really care about is originally happening, but if there's that many people that want stuff done on the river and into the dam, and they feel they're operating the dam can help get rid of some of the silt or make it better, then it's not an unreasonable request. It's not, I mean, it seems like something that, I know everybody's prepared to conservation, but if they really want to do something with that area too. So if this makes it better, then that's not a reasonable request. Or to them, to the board, to anybody, because I think they're in agreement with you in that they would like it to be better where the dam is and better where you all use the boat. They don't want it to be 1 inch of water and a bunch of silt, and they don't want it to be a terrible, dangerous river when it floods. I mean, I think they would like it to be better. It doesn't hurt anybody in our county if the river is better. So, yeah, I think your proposal sounds pretty reasonable. It's legal. I know it's legal. So it's something we can do. And, you know,
So what you're saying, we need to approach the conservation.
I think we need,
We've been told to approach.
yeah, I know. You know what?
Yeah,
We're trying to do
like
it.
a sort of.
Trying to do it now that.
So-
Circle.
That's why I suggested just have a joint meeting with both boards. That way, we can put an agenda out to discuss the proposal. Everybody's there. We can give you a lot more space if, you know, you have 200 people who want to be at this meeting, or 500 or whatever. We can try to accommodate whether it needs to be.
That's hard to get things out.
Well, yeah, I get it.
I mean,
it,
we could come up with peace. I mean, if you want.
No, we
No,
don't.
that's not the case. No, that's not the case. I don't think we want that. What, I think the thing is, we gotta get a proposal put
We just-
together
yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah.
Everybody sees the proposal beforehand, and then we have a joint meeting. Does that sound reasonable?
That's more than reasonable. We'll put together a proposal to whoever.
As to what's your plans?
Right, we just gotta have a plan, because, you know, we hear this, we hear that, we hear this, we hear that. You gotta have everything written down so that everybody knows the facts and everybody can move forward and make a logical decision from that. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I think it's
Fair.
way over. Right?
Yeah.
What we got here, we got a mess. I just came from Charles City. It's beautiful all along Main. That's true. Beautiful. Mow it all the way to. You go down and look at the power arms. All grown up in trees. So somebody's gotta take care of it. But this county can't do it. That's part of the game, right? Or no? It's a mess.
I have no clue on that, the
On
mill
the
race,
yeah.
the mill race and the old
I think
house.
it is.
That's the
That's
thing.
the corner,
city,
that's the
isn't it?
city.
Okay.
So I kind of figured.
So,
Okay.
thanks,
Pretty
John.
simple. Pretty
Yeah,
simple.
Thank you for what you said.
Yeah.
don't know that I helped anything.
Well, it did
Um,
because it laid things out, and at least we all know what the next move is, and I think that's what we need to do. We just need to start getting some kind of plan together, lay it out.
We'll
If you guys
have a
will put a
joint meeting.
proposal together, get it to the conservation board, get it to us, get it to John,
Okay, you all want.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
just bring it up
Just
here,
copy
we'll
it
get
to us.
copies.
Yeah,
Bring it up here.
Yeah.
conservation
We'll have a
slash
joint meeting.
board of supervisors, that's how I put it.
Okay,
Yeah, and
we can do that.
the reason why I said we can have it in a bit of place, if all these people are interested, I know you can watch it. And I know you can do all that stuff, but. You know, if we can work it out so we don't have 1,000 people speaking.
Yeah,
it doesn't
right.
take
I don't wanna do that.
40 hours, but I want
Right.
everybody to be excluded that wants to be there.
And that's.
I just,
we just
I
need to
would
be a
assume we
reasonable
not give
group.
1,000 people 2 minutes to talk.
Yeah,
Cause nobody has that kind of.
it
time.
just needs to be a reasonable group that we can come to, we can discuss things logically together, going back and forth without chaos. We don't need chaos anymore.
Yeah.
We've had enough
Okay.
chaos.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, we'll do that.
Okay,
Go start your tiling machine.
all right.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you.
John.
don't know.
We
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
I don't know, but I did much.
You did.
It did.
Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
I tried to get on the agenda, but they said.
No.
Well, no, you could have been on the agenda.
Well, she just said, keep together, but I did call it.
I know you did, but you could have, you said you didn't want to be put on the agenda.
No,
You told her you
I
didn't want to be.
needed to be. And she said, just go with this, so I just went.
Okay,
Tried to do it right.
all right.
Yeah, so I don't, I read that earlier, yeah, this is, he said. it's-
Okay, Randy, your turn.
So I don't, that part I
Right.
don't.
That I don't, that's my really please.
That chance in that.
What is that fruit?
Somebody got a diesel sitting out there running that.
Oh,
That's
really?
the things that come
You sure it's not
out.
yours?
No, it's not mine.
I was like,
I heard it pull in.
Oh, yeah, I guess now.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just like all of a
It's a
sudden,
tune up.
oh, we shut the windows.
Feel like I'm at a
Sorry,
truck stop.
please. I know it, I thought I was at the airport.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought it was. I'm like, God, it smells like the airport.
And
I know it.
you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Everybody's-
I came to you to update you on a couple of things, okay?
Okay.
One of them I'll start with, it's a little quicker. I have been in coordination with Geo Permit, as you recall, our permit contract to be able to transfer from our paper operations to a digital operation. And I've had two virtual sessions with Stacia Franklin. She lives in Indiana. And basically, the first one was to kind of determine really what we wanted totally. And then I provided for her our current paper permits for zoning. And then she used those to create a sample or an example of what could be used. I then talked to her again. We went through that, we tweaked it a little bit. And so she's gonna provide for us the ability for me to go through it, see if there's anything else that we need to do. And then after that, we would have some type of rollout and give it a shot. I think there might have to be some transition time, because that's not gonna be easy. But from what I've seen, and I have to review it again, the example, but it seems to me that it will be very beneficial. That, I think after that's done, I think maybe it would be a good idea, other than just myself looking at it, but use that as an example to show anybody that wants to within the county of what the possibilities are. Because it's certainly not just zoning, could be used for a lot of things. And then according to her, it's used in many places for a lot of different things for cities, counties, and so on. But I just wanted to give you a little bit update that we are making progress. And those are the kind of things that we can be looking forward to in the not too distant future, I hope. So, any questions on that one? No? Okay. See, that was simple. This one, we have received, as you can see here, a public hearing will be made on October 12th. And this is for a special exception use application. And the location for the hearing will be here. The hearing will address and rule on an application for a special exception use permit in accordance with Humboldt County zoning ordinance number 26. And then they show the articles there under that. Special exception use permit was issued by Cole Anderson from Bradgate. And the application is for a commercial limestone quarry in the zoning district A2 agricultural. And this falls underneath of that Article 6, Section 4.4. It specifically states for the extraction of mineral materials and they stay in their limestone. That's in the ordinance.
Okay.
The location, I put on the back of the map, you can see the location. This would be, most of you probably know, it's been there forever. I've been in Humboldt for 47 years and it's been there, it's been there a long time. Not in operation, but is a nice water area anyway. There are 4 parcels owned by Mr. Anderson. I have them listed there. I have been in contact with him and his lawyer. And initially, they wanted me to meet there, and I did. I gave them basically the information of how to apply for the special exception use, because they were considering this application. So I gave them all of that. They have issued that. I asked them very detailed to look at the 14 standards that the Board of Adjustments must follow. And so with that, it was probably, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. One question that I knew would be coming up, and I can't give you all the details because part of it will be part of the testimony or information that they will bring to the Board of Adjustments. I'm not exactly sure what all that would be, but one of them for sure that I know you'd want to know. The water in the large water area is approximately 250 feet from the Des Moines River. So that, just wanted to make sure you got that detail. Just give you a couple more things here. The Board of Adjustments will rule based on the hearing, presentation, and information provided, the discussions and questions. The Board of Adjustments decision will be related to the ordinance special exception use standards, as I mentioned. The Board of Adjustments may prescribe appropriate conditions or safeguards in accordance with the ordinance standards. That means if they look at a standard, it's questionable, they could say, well, to approve that according to that standard, we're going to ask you to do this, or we're going to require you to do this, or whatever. So they have the authority to do that. The Board of Adjustment ruling will be presented to you, the Board of Supervisors, on October 16th at your weekly meeting. Minutes and all related documents of the hearing will be taken and filed with me. And that filing, I also keep with the auditor's office. The Board of Supervisors may vote to delay the decision for a period of 30 days. That's directly out of the ordinance. So once I present that to you, you have 30 days to ask the Board of Adjustments to review the decision. The Board of Adjustments may reject the request to review or reconvene to determine if they stand with their decision or change the decision with or without conditions and safeguards. So they can go back, review it, say, okay, we change our mind, but with these conditions or safeguards. Or they can just say, we're going to change our mind. Okay. Any appeals of the Board of Adjustments decision or will be received and acted upon according to the Code of Iowa, Chapter 335, and the Board of Adjustment shall fix a reasonable time for the hearing of appeals, giving public notice as well as due notice to the parties in interest. It'll be in the newspaper this week, public notice of this hearing. Also contacting by letter adjacent landowners according to the ordinance requirements. And
that's all farm ground around it, correct?
yes, this is an A2 agricultural area would be.
There's an acreage there of Richland.
There's a what?
On top of the hill.
Oh,
No, over this way.
an A1.
Yeah.
Well, it's an acreage. It's
Yeah.
not a farm.
No,
There's some houses.
right, and that's within the it'd be residential zoned area. And there's a little bit of discrepancy in the ordinance. One part of the ordinance says that any property within 200 feet would be notified. Another part of the ordinance says within 500 feet. So there is discrepancy
Get
there.
that corrected.
The lawyer for Mr. Anderson has provided, as ruled by the ordinance, the people that need to be contacted within 500 feet.
So
Seems
you use
reasonable.
a higher,
Right.
I think that's the
Right.
best. 500 feet, I know that, I should probably know this, but is that like a half a mile?
No.
Oh,
a
no.
football field is 300 feet.
Okay, that's what I was trying to think,
It's a
okay.
football
so-
field and a half,
Well,
Okay,
yeah, basically
okay,
one.
so it isn't even a half a mile, maybe a quarter,
not even that.
not even that, okay.
I'm also contacting the city of Rutland with the same information.
Yeah.
So that they know it.
Well, it sounds like you're really doing the due diligence of this.
Well, I think it's very important that we look at,
Is some of this in city limits? I don't.
no, but in past, the Board of Supervisors had requested me to contact adjacent, cities or incorporated areas in some of the other things that I've done.
Okay, gotcha,
So I anticipated that,
okay,
so that's why I did that.
gotcha.
I think it's important that we wait till the hearing before we have any discussion of the possibilities, because they are required to make their information known of why they're making this request. I don't want to speculate on what they might say.
Okay,
That would be wrong.
what their plans are.
Right.
Your meeting.
The same would be true for citizens that want to address the Board of Adjustments. They can get a hold of me and say, I'd like to address the board. Or if they're just here, they want to address the board, they can do that as well. They have to do it though within the requirements of not a big discussion or discussing between parties other than with the Board of Adjustments. The Board of Adjustments can ask questions and have discussions with anybody that is providing their testimony or whatever you want to call it. So it's not like it's, a
So
great big
does
discussion.
your bylaws say like a 2 minute, they have a 2 minute?
It doesn't say
Anything like
anything,
that?
it doesn't say anything as far as time.
Okay,
And I know it's gonna take actually more than two minutes for Mr. Anderson, his attorney, and he will also have,
well, I
A
mean,
rep-
the people coming, cause it's gonna take more than
Yeah.
that for the.
It doesn't
but I
say
mean,
any-
for the-
doesn't say
We need to
anything as
worry
far as
about that
time.
At a Board of Adjustment meeting and then bring it back to us.
Yeah. They also will have present, I'm not sure the name of this person, a representative, they've hired a company to actually do the operation of the quarry.
Oh,
And they will have details of what they're actually gonna do. I've also asked them to provide, in relationship to that, their signs, their parking, which is in the ordinance as well. And it's not in the ordinance, but I asked them also to check with the county engineer on entry and exit. Obviously, you're looking at not just small vehicles.
my question, I see there's a blue line on here.
That just comes from the beacon program.
Okay, so
That's-
they are petitioning for that whole area to be used.
Correct.
Okay, I've seen that sorted off.
When you make a selection for,
Okay.
on the beacon program, it brings up one parcel and it
All right.
colors it in.
I just wish it was backwards because all that ground that above there is the ground that they put all that irrigating stuff in the ground. And we could use see if we could get an agreement for the water that came out of there to go in there instead of pulling the water out of the river. Cause you'll be down, it'll be down, I'm assuming it would be downstream, but I'm just speculating. So.
They have done. I can just say this, they've done a study of this. They have very detailed information related to those standards. Okay? So, and I've stressed that clearly. If they aren't related to the standards, then how can the Board of Adjustments
Right,
make a decision on it? So that's what I've asked them to do.
well, it's been in the rumbling for a while, so
Yeah.
So Randy, your piece that's outlined in black,
Yes.
None of them on the east side of the road?
No.
Okay, that he owns?
No, just that, the part that was, those 4 parcels. And at one time was operated as a quarry.
Okay.
And it's longer than 50 years ago. You know? So
So.
if there are any questions, if you receive any questions or
But he doesn't want
concerns,
to, he only wants a quarry for the, so he owns all of this land around here, but he only wants the
No.
black thick line in as.
No, he don't own the land, he just owns what's in
he
the
just
black,
owns
Over
those.
here.
what's inside the black.
He purchased
He
that.
purchased that this spring.
And he owns everything across the
And
road.
he-
Oh, and across, okay, so not to the, is that north?
East.
Not-
North, I think the county
The
owns
top, the
that.
top of the paper is north.
I'll double check to make sure that
He owns.
every property owner adjacent within that distance will be, other than what they provided. I will double check to make sure that they, everybody is covered.
Okay,
But again, if there's any questions or concerns that are brought to you, I would appreciate it if you'd refer them to me. I want to make sure everybody gets the same, not that you wouldn't
same
be able,
story.
I want to get the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
information, you know?
Yeah,
I'd notify the city of Rutland also.
he said that.
I did, I will, yeah. And so,
Start dynamite, there goes their one.
well, they're in the ordinance and those standards, those things are addressed, so.
Yep.
We'll follow those standards, no matter who comes to discuss this, okay?
Okay,
Perfect.
sounds good.
Before you leave, this is a different topic,
Yes,
septic systems.
yes.
In our zoning, or do we have any kind of ordinance, or do we follow the states? Or the question I've run into is the description of a bedroom. The DNR's description of a bedroom is a room with a closet. So they come and look at a house and they say, oh, that could be used for a bedroom in the basement, just because it has a closet. So then they're making you upsize your septic systems way bigger than you need, and then it doesn't work properly. The DNR's description of the bedroom is not like a realtor's description of a bedroom. A legal description of a bedroom is a bedroom with a closet and an egress window or a second exit. And
You mean if it's in the basement?
if it's in the basement, if you have a sewing room in the basement with a closet in it, or an office with a closet, they call that a bedroom. So
Really?
then
It's
for
gotta
every
have an
bedroom,
egress window to be a bedroom.
Right.
but if it's, you know, if it's a sewing room with a closet, it's a bedroom according to the DNR. So then you have to add another 100 feet of leach field for every bedroom. And I don't know how much bigger you have to make your septic tank, which costs a lot of money.
Mhm.
And not only that, they don't work properly when they're not sized properly. Because you have to pump in 750 gallons into that septic tank a day of water for a 5-bedroom home when you're.
Maybe they need to adopt a couple of kids. They'd burn that up in.
Yeah.
hours.
Oh, my God.
So I didn't know if we could have some clarification to our,
Yeah, I would say two things on that. My wife worked in a real estate office, and as far as the bedroom is concerned, it would have to have an egress. And my understanding, it have to be of a certain size.
yes, it is.
It couldn't just be a little basement
Basement
window.
window. No,
It'd have
it
to
has
be
to be so many inches.
I'm
across.
not sure what that dimension is.
Yeah.
Okay, there has to be a closet.
Yeah.
Okay, also provide.
So I had conversations with the DNR down there. And he told me, you can write your ordinance to describe what a bedroom is in your county.
And we could do that, especially since we're gonna rewrite our ordinance. Just like a lot of things probably need to be added or changed, we can do that.
Yeah.
As far as the septic system, I think you'd have to talk to the environmental specialist. I'm sure that they would follow the state law as far as
But you
upgrading.
see, the problem is with the state law, any room in the basement is a closet. So like I told the guy at the DNR, I said, I probably got about a 9 or 11 room house,
Right.
bedroom house, because I got a lot of closets in my
Right.
house.
Mhm.
I says, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know who would designate a room for what, because you certainly could use it for whatever you
Yeah,
wanted
you
to.
could put a bed anywhere in your house and call it a bedroom just about.
I think as far as, I would say, insuring a home,
it would have to be insured with an egress. Yeah, if you're gonna call it a. If I'm an insurance company, I'm not gonna insure that house without an egress. No. So that's another entity brought into it, but that would be, I guess if I were doing it, I'd have to go by that. You know, whether the state law or whatever, it's better to go with more caution.
And they actually, they oversize them anyway, so if
Right.
you get one for a 3-bedroom home, it's probably gonna handle a 5-bedroom anyway, because
Right.
they oversize them.
Right. But there could be add-ons to the home,
Yeah,
you know, after the fact, so there's a lot of. As far as our ordinance is
I think
concerned,
if
there's
you
no
add on-
definition.
if you get a building permit, you add on a bedroom and another bathroom, you might have to upsize your
Right.
septic system.
Our ordinance doesn't state any definition of that that I know of.
We probably should.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I'll make,
Just like Keenan, when I talked with him, he says, I don't know what to do, I'm just
Right.
going by what
What
the DNR tells me, and I said, I feel bad for you, because how do you know, you go in a house and the guy's got an office or a sewing room down there, but it's a bedroom,
right.
according to the DNR rules.
I'll make note of that, and there may be other things that happen to find within, not just homes, but also other buildings as well. In dealing with, maybe you've got a large, farmer operation building, but there's a commercial operation in there as well. You know, and we do have those. So that's gonna have to be decided upon as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just homes, it can be a lot of different things that we're gonna have to look at when we do that ordinance.
Okay.
I don't want the ordinance to be this thing, but
No.
on the other hand,
They need some clarification,
right,
is what he needs. I said, I'm trying to make your job easier.
yeah,
So you're not the guy who gets yelled at.
I know,
Right.
so,
That's a good point. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah. All right.
We got
Thank you.
into our acreage and we did.
okay.
This is off your main topic,
Uh-huh.
but are you getting building permits for houses out in the country?
Yes, we have,
The ones that are on agricultural?
trying to think. Not recently that I can recall.
Well, but
There might be.
you would. I mean.
He
you were
should.
saying some
With this,
should.
he should.
There could be, but if you're looking at that, then you're probably looking at a special exception use if it's, I'm sorry, it could be a special exception use, or it could be not the principal uses, I'm trying to remember the term, accessory uses in the ordinance. And basically what that means is, let's say that I have a home, as part of the agricultural area.
Right.
It's been there for whatever, okay? And you wanna put another home there, okay?
Tear down the old one.
Or add another one, okay? There's accessory uses that can be approved, which that could fall under that area.
But you do get a permit then,
There would have to be, just a regular building permit, yes.
because,
And it would be designated, if it falls under that, as an accessory use.
so how about if it's just a house, brand new house on this? They're gonna tear the old one down
Okay,
and put a new one up 300 feet away.
okay, if it's within the parcel of the agricultural zoned area. If it's not just, an acreage, okay? If it's part of the, original house, tearing it down, and put another one in place or somewhere near that. If it's part of the farm operation itself,
Mhm.
no permit required by state law. Okay.
I disagree. That is not an ag building.
Well,
going
it's,
up on there.
all I know
It's
is-
a different class on its own.
if it, according to what and you might be right, I don't know, but according to what I've researched. If it's part of the operation, okay, let's say the people live there, they operate the agricultural. It's not what I would want it to be,
I
But-
think there should be a permit for it.
well,
I
we've
mean, there's
discussed it,
other issues
and
also involved.
I've discussed it with John as well. And his statement to me was,
the only restriction that you have, they can't build within the right of way. If it's an acreage, it's been purchased by someone else, now you're looking at a different, situation.
Because I think they should have a permit, it helps our office out.
I know it does. I
We've
know it
had
does.
other issues with dwelling, septics,
Yeah.
wells, on and on.
I couldn't agree with you more, but there's all other kinds of aspects of that law that really exempt a lot of situations. I mean, it
We
could
don't,
be,
in our office, it's not classified as an ag building
well,
at all. It's a different class, all its.
but that would be an
I think
assessment class.
that's something that you two
Maybe
maybe
you
need to
could
work out.
discuss
Yeah,
in
you
your
two,
office,
yeah,
because-
you two need to work that out and
That's
figure that
Well,
out.
I would just like to see the permits come into our office for those.
Mhm.
Um,
That's something you two need to
yeah.
maybe
Hash
work out, hash out, and so we can move forward and